Hey, everybody, and welcome back to what we essentially do every end of the year, which is reflect and take a look at what the calendar year brought us. So, in this particular calendar year, we had chapters 1135 all the way to 1169. We will not be discussing 1170 because it has not released yet. But before I get into everything, I do want to thank all the savages, thank everybody for another wonderful year talking about One Piece with you guys. So appreciate all of you, appreciate all the support, and we're gonna go through chapter by chapter, and obviously we're gonna rank things. We do this every year, but there's never really ever any bad chapters, so this is never anything like, okay, if we put something at the bottom, like, this should poorly reflect on Oda or Shueisha or anything. It's always like, it's just, and especially when you're getting to like the upper echelon of everything, it's like, okay, how do you separate all of the, the peak? And I'm going to try very hard to like keep the top category to only 5. I want to make sure that we have like, just a top 5 that we could say. And I mean, like, and the main thing that I'm looking for, and this is going to be something that's tough as we go through this list. And I will say that this is going to be all on the fly. I have a couple of ideas in my head on certain things, but I'm going to be going through each chapter individually and then, like, assigning it to the tier list. But, the top 5, they need to be like game changers. They have to have those iconic One Piece moments. And, that's crazy. I mean, once we start getting into like God Valley territory and things like that, like, it's going to be really hard to, like, not just want to throw everything into, the top 5 areas. This may end up being a hard list, and it may end up pushing a lot of the Elbaf stuff from earlier in the year, not all of it, but some of it down below. Not to say that stuff isn't good. It's like, we got to realize that we got God Valley this year, and a lot of that is probably going to end up above, and then some of these lower tiers will have the Elbaf stuff. Tomato said, except when Kinemon survived Kaido. Okay, yeah. Well, you got me there. Brandon said this year had some absolute bangers. Yep. Tomato said, thank you, Cap, for an amazing year. Thank you to you guys. Shout out to Emil. All right, let's move over to the actual tier list here. All right. Let's see. We haven't done the feature chat on this screen. So let's just see how that appears. Well, some of the chats might end up being longer. That's probably fine. So before we actually get into everything, I also do want to shout out Crushnaut for putting this particular tier list together for us. The images are going to be hard to see. That's just the you know, it's never easy to see these images. But the link to this particular tier list, if you want to do your own ranking, is in the description. What was the first chapter of the year? 1135. And that's what we're going to start with. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So get over here. So 1135 gave us our introduction to Biblo. This was, Robin in the library with Saul. We're seeing that the kids are not the savage warriors that Luffy had hoped they would be. We met Ripley. We got new Elbaf drip for Frankie, Jinbei, Robin, and Brooke. And Gunko and Shamrock arrived at the castle and took out those two guards. Afterwards, we had a little bit of a party in town. Big cheers spread. Everybody's, the Straw Hats are celebrating that they finally made it to Elbaf after all these years. And then we end the chapter with with being reintroduced to Ja Rule, and he has a sword in his head. So off the strength of this being a celebration of the crew essentially finally making it to Elbaf. I don't want to. We definitely don't want to judge this too harshly because it's a celebratory chapter. Is it chapter of the year? Is it top 5? Absolutely not. When you consider everything else that comes later, but I'm going to put this in our B category for now. And we can reevaluate some of this stuff later. But when I think of B, B is like, great. This was fun. A would be like, oh, amazing. S is, this is, top tier. Then top 5 is, cream of the crop. Cream rises to the top. Yeah. Damien said a strong B. I agree. Brandon said, idea. If any chaps have color spreads, maybe we could rank the color spreads in our own too. Savage. Well, that wasn't. I don't have a tier list for that, but ranking the color spreads isn't a bad idea. as I'm going through the chapters, naturally I'll run into them. Shout out to the Remote Duelist, appreciate the super chat. Said Merry Christmas, excited for season 2. Only 3 more months. Can't wait for everybody to see. Okay. So, do me a favor, guys. Can someone type 1136 and I'll make it the highlighted comment so anybody that's tuning in, they know which chapter we're moving on to. There we go. So we'll just do that as we move on. If you guys are in the chat, like if we're moving on to another chapter, someone just write the chapter and then I can put it on the screen so we know what we're talking about. Much appreciated. Okay, so 1136. More celebrations in the town. A lot of stuff with Road. This is when we got everybody's talking about Nika, and this is like really the first time that Luffy's hearing about Nika, and or at least the idea the sun god. He's putting it together like, oh yeah, that's the one that Bonnie was talking about. And then we get this new image of a silhouette of Nika, which is probably my most remembered thing from this chapter. Is he the hero who appeared to save the world from disaster, destroyer who lays waste to all? Appears when the world is about to undergo a great transformation. Therefore, the great and mighty of the day always fear Nika's arrival. So that's cool. And we start learning more about Loki. We start getting the, what I would like to call Oda's lies, right? What the townspeople tell you about a character that end up not being true. This is a trope that he tends to do. In the sense that like he's trying to make us not like Loki, but we're gonna end up liking Loki. Zoro and Luffy are arguing over what to do with Loki, and then Zoro, Luffy, Nami, and Road head over to the castle. This is when we get our first conversation between Loki, Shamrock, and Gunko. And we see the reveal of Gunko's powers. This isn't when we get the Oda box for it, but we see Gunko take out the wolf. And Shamrock offers Loki the deal, which Loki renounces. So, for me, I like this one. This one had some, a little bit of lore into it. This may end up becoming top of B, but for now, I'm going to put it in A. Loki setup for sure. Yeah. Fresh. I should have put that Nika panel on the thing. No worries. Um, I like that. All right, moving on to 1137. Okay, so this is exploring the castle with Luffy, Zoro, Nami, and Road. There's a lot of great art in this chapter. This is when we see our first real image of Harold. You know, we get some Harold lore. We get some more Gunko, Shamrock, and Loki stuff. This is when Gunko really goes at Loki with her ability. And then this is the full reveal of Shamrock. This is the Oda box for the two of them. Man. This might be another A. Okay. Moving on to 1138. Okay. We all know this one. Yeah. 1138. The Harley. This is when we see Shamrock sword has the Cerberus fruit. Gunko's arrow bird that they fly away on. Loki gets stabbed. Gabon starts walking towards the castle. And Ripley picks up Frankie like a little doll and sets him in front of the mural. And this is what I call a game changer. So much discussion came from this particular chapter. My favorite moment from this was just how hard I lost it from those of the Half Moon Dreamed. Because for me, it solidified a long-running theory that I've had about the D maybe not even really standing for an actual word, but being a hieroglyph for either a crescent moon or a smile. And while not explicitly stated here, it just feels like a very it's going to be a foreshadowing thing. Like I think it just helps my theory. But like this is one of those like pre-time skip things where you just, this chapter came out and you just know you're dealing with something special. So that's it's at the tippy top. And I'm worried. I don't think we're going to do better than this chapter. It's why I put it in the thumbnail, because I think it's objectively chapter of the year. subjectively, I might there might be some chapters as we start getting into like the God Valley stuff that I was like, oh, I enjoyed this a little bit more as a whole. But I don't think there's any page in 2025 that is more important or objectively iconic than this. So Wolfgang said unironically might be chapter of the decade so far. I mean that's kind of like what I'm getting at here. Like it's just it's so put so much into perspective. For sure, most hype chapter of the year. Monumental foreshadowing. Helps the agenda, yep. This one needs its own category. It might. Honestly, it might. It might. Let's see. All right, add a row above. As we're talking about it, it's like, yeah. It's just murals. It's in its own category. Frankie's face says it all. Rejuvenating the One Piece community. Yep. The one above all. Moving on to 1139. Okay. This one's taking some time to load. Okay, Mountain Eater. So we're back at the castle. This is when the gang finds the circle. An axe gets thrown at them, and we are introduced to Mr. Ya. Okay, we learn that Cologne and is Mr. Ya's kid. Ripley is Mr. Ya's wife. We get characterization for Gibbon. We know who he is. Road knows who he is. The rest of the gang doesn't. They find the key, and he challenges them to a fight. Now, when I read this chapter, I got really hyped. This was a tremendous setup chapter for Gabon. Knowing what comes after does taint this chapter a little bit for me. I think if the next chapter was better, this would probably be A. I'm going to put this one top of B for now. And that's my own, that's my own bias. What does that fit? One Piece shirt. moving on to 1140. In my head, this was the quote worst chapter of the year, if it's what I remember. So this is the Gabon fight. At no point does he ever let them know who he is. We get this fight, and then he just says, "I yield." Now we do later on. Oda pays this off by having Gabon yield and like kind of turning it into a character quirk, but it just felt out of place. And this is my own like thing with stories and everything, but it's like I do not like when a character withholds information to be cheeky. So Gabon is clearly testing Luffy here. I get all of that. But it's like after the test, like just get into what you need to get into. And it's just, I think some things could have been avoided if if characters just talk, but that wasn't the way that we went about it. So it's just come and see me again, but yeah. So then we get introduced to the this was the introduction of Summers and Killingham, and the setup that they're gonna go after the kids. Anyway, for me, I'm just we'll see what D ends up being, but it's not a bad chapter. It's just not what it didn't work for me. And whoever if you were here during the stream, I was very vocal about it at the time also. Moving on to 1141. Okay, 1141, an older woman. Okay, so the gang leaves the castle. We get a little bit of Adam Tree lore, which I remember enjoying. The gang gets back to the western village to party a little bit. Get this Gerd and Road stuff. Luffy shows up with the key to Loki. Luffy and Zoro have to fight about what to do with the key. Hyrodin and his guys show up to stop Luffy from using the key. Then we get that great panel of Loki standing up with his shackles already undone. Yeah, this one was good. I think that panel alone of Loki standing up was just so raw that this can be an A chapter. Crush, I didn't like Usopp getting sloppy drunk, slapping Ja Rule's sword. Yeah. 11:42. We're moving through, guys. We're moving through. $11:42. What I'm afraid of. The Loki take your hand off Ragnar. That's a real solid moment there. All right, so this is when we get all the kids' dreams start attacking the town, and no one knows like really what's going on. In hindsight, this is all still really convenient that on the day that Ange asked them to like talk about their greatest fears, someone that could manipulate that arrives. That aside, this one's a fun one. We get that great panel of Loki attacking with Ragnar. And then we get that panel at the end of all of the, the fears come to life. And the reveal that Gunko is afraid of Nika. This one's fun, but, there's not a lot of Straw Hat stuff happening in this. It's a lot of, like, just... This is, like, the Ange chapter, so I'm gonna... it might be a B, but I'm gonna put it at C for now, just to give a little bit of variance. Moving on to 11:43. This was our first color spread of the year. This is the color spread where everybody is on their own flying fish. They're doing a flying fish race. It's fun, but I know that there were better ones than this. Okay. 11:43. Holy Nights. Alright, so the kids are walking away from school. Robin wants Saul to help the children. Saul tries to stop the kids, but he gets thorned. In the town, people start fighting / getting attacked by these dreams. We get the reveal that Summers has the thorn fruit. And this is when we have like a 3-page scene of the Holy Knights eating and, trying to get some characterization for them. We get the explanation of what's going on with the kids, the sleep tids, what Killingham is doing with them. Loki slumps over because his wounds are a bit too much. Gerd's got to step in as the doctor and help him. This is when we feel like we're about to get the flashback for Loki and Hyrden, but we end up not getting that. Loki says to Hyrden, they all say I went and killed Dad with pure murder in my heart, but you don't believe that, do you? So this was, this is Oda saying, yeah, there's more to the story than you thought. There's a lot of setup in this. It's a lot of the Holy Knights and everything. I'm gonna put this at B. Like, it was good information that we got, but it's not one of the best chapters of the year. Moving on to 11:44. A time for warriors. Talking about 1143, Crush said, this one was fine, nothing crazy, but in retrospect, I like the convo between Hired and Loki. Yeah. All right. So I remember liking 1144. This is when we find the lab in the woods, which I still want some more information about. Building's been there for 3,000 years. And Lilith and Bonnie are already there. They get attacked by a lightning monster. This is when we see that Kalon is on his way to help everybody. We see that Gunko is listening to New World by Soul King by Brooke, which was like a huge reveal and, set that up. Saul tries to stop the kids. Robin's getting upset. It looks like a losing battle against these sleep tids. And then Dory and Brogy show up with Gabon. This chapter, for me, it may end up falling down to top of A, but I'm going to make this our first S just because of the conversations that came from seeing Gunko with the listening to Brooke and the questions that facility brings. Love me some Hakoko sovereignty, yep. Joyboy left the tech in the Elbaf lab tree. Fenrir mentioned, yep. Brooke Gunko connection haunts me to this day. Moving on to 1145. This was our second color spread of the year. This was the one that was done in an extreme anime style. It looked like it was drawn by Toei Animation. This one, there's never really been a color spread like this that I can remember. And it was probably around the time that something big was happening with Gear 5 in the anime, so they were promoting that. 1145, Wildfire in Forest Sector 2, Branch Route 8. Oh, this was fun. This was the return of Arme de l'Air, Air Assault, Power Shoot, the combo between Sanji and Zoro in Davy Back. Really enjoyed that. We got the reveal that the shield is a homie, which was a thing that's been talked about since we saw him on the cover page. This is the chapter that told us that Loki wants to be king of the world, if I remember correctly. I don't think we've heard it before this. This was the chapter that revealed that Rox is Loki's Shanks. Was born in the wrong era. This one was a good one. Fireman Jinbei returns. Gunko appears to attack them on Cologne's boat. This one's good. This one's good. I'm gonna put that one in S also. The color spread was to promote the return of the anime after the 6-month break. That makes sense, yeah. Fireman Jinbei is good. Not entirely. Not entirely, but it's, you know, a lot of the other stuff in the chapter was. Moving on to the next one. 1146. Motion and stillness. Okay. This is when they attack Gunko. This is when we realize that Gunko can regenerate like the 5 elders, which is crazy. The crew gets completely demolished by Gunko. And Robin is hiding inside Saul, not taking any action. I remember being disappointed by that when it was happening. I was like, come on, Robin, get in there. I mean, the next chapter at least fixed that. We put this one atop of A for now. Jinbei, is that meme? What is your purpose? Put out fires. Oh. Yeah, that was 1146. Moving on to 1147. What we're afraid of. Okay. This is when we get the interactions between Gunko and Brooke. We get the kids walking to the edge. We have Oda's stereotypical mom hatred on display. We get our map showing where everybody is and how it's all going to converge. Ripley's carrying her plush Frankie around. We get introduced to all of these kids that we're supposed to care about. And we end the chapter with Robin and Gabon getting ready to fight. This is fine. This is like a mid-B chapter. The end is hype, but it's actually the next chapter that's going to follow through on some things. So, moving on to 1148. Rania. All right. While I didn't necessarily care too much about the Rania stuff, I understand what Oda was doing. Where this chapter succeeds is Robin does things. And I can't wait to see this animated. And I hope that they, put a great team on it, because Robin doesn't get enough love when it comes to fighting. And then Gabon shows up and cuts off Summer's arm. Off the strength of Robin doing something alone, this is an S. And I don't know, maybe top of S. Any chapter where Summers gets owned is a good chapter. Moving on to 1149, we had another color spread chapter. This one's a proper color spread. This is the one that had the Lilith Ambani on it, which is interesting because I could see them traveling with us for the rest of the story. I really like this color spread, and it's way better than the Flying Fish race. All right, 1149. 1 second. So this is Gabon versus Summers. Crew is realizing that he is Gabon. Cut Summers in half. It's amazing. This man's trying to save his son. It's respectable. Gunko goes to kill Cologne. We get some little mini flashbacks to when he was born. We think he's going to attack, and he yields. Because future sight lets him know that if he doesn't, his son's going to die. And then he falls to his doom. And then at the end of the chapter, Emu takes over Gunko. Like, this was insane. And then not only that, we get the memory of Brooke and Gunko. The discussions alone that came from this, like, I'm gonna put this at top 5 for now, but I feel like as we start getting into some of the God Valley stuff, like, this is gonna end up being like the bottom of top 5 if it manages to stay. But this Brooke and Gunko stuff alone is like some of my favorite stuff this year. So we'll see. Might be the most bombshell moments in one chapter, yeah. Brooke having a second flashback alone makes it top 5. Alex said top 5. This is the only request that I'll make. My opinion on Gunko changed in an instance. Yeah. Moving on to 1150. Domi Reversi. Oh, man. I might have to make like an S plus tier. um, I mean, this was insane. Brogy lost a hand. They got flipped and turned around. This was unreal. I mean, this is top of S. In contention for top 5. I agree. That's where I just put it. Kunko materialized the double barrel shotgun. Where are you going to see that? It's a great chapter. It's in contention for top 5. I just know that we're going to be getting into God Valley stuff, and I'm like, I gotta, you know, I gotta pace myself here. We may reevaluate at the end. We're gonna go into 1151 after a short little chair piece. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. And it should be noted that we're halfway through the year, I think, or almost halfway. We're almost halfway. Thinking like maybe like 4 more chapters. We'll be halfway through the year. Okay, 1151. I get the idea. Okay. So Dory and Brogy go on a little bit of a rampage. We see Killingham not in his dragon face form. Chopper goes to save Gabon. We get the return of Guard Point, which is was sorely missed. And I mean, like, we're talking about like a giant guard point. Like, this is like monster point guard point. Like, you know, it's been a while since we got a chopper feat. We get the impression that Luffy's hockey is changing. We get another call from Shaggy. Which, if it's Shirahoshi and was Luffy in earshot? Because, like, he would know what Shirahoshi sounds like. He's over here by Gabon, so maybe he's not paying attention. Luffy finds out that Gabon is, you know, was on Roger's crew. Which is my whole thing is, like, it didn't need to wait this long. This one was set up. I'm going to put this in top of B. $11.52. Right, this was the start of the flashback. A horrible day. Chopper's going to stay with Gabon. Luffy asks Loki to join his crew. Gabon tells them to unlock Loki's chains, because realistically, Gabon knows the truth. Or at least he should know the truth. And then Loki decides to tell us a story. And then the narrator decides to tell us a story within the story. This is when we see the Covenant is on Shanks' arm. This whole, like, Shanks and Gabon part is enough to put this in S. You know, I mean, like, this whole thing, this part of the flashback was very hype. The fact that we were getting it. Moving on to 1153. The birth of Loki. Hey, Carmilla. All right, so this is when we get introduced to Ida. And Ida's great. And we get introduced to Astrid. Astrid is trash. We got baby Loki. Baby Loki climbing up the side of the tower. This was good. Throw this in A. Crush, you think 1153 is the second best chapter of the year after the Harley? Better than some of the God Valley stuff? It's not for me. It's good, but I'm not gonna weigh out the Herald parts of it. 1154. Can't even die. We get a recap of the Big Mom stuff. Estrid's sick. Everyone's talking about the cursed child. Ida's getting discriminated against. Harold comes in to her defense. Estrid died. Ida's got her little bar. We learn about the Galila band. That was a good chat between Harold and Ja Rule. And then this is the chapter that ended with Rox and his face reveal. And the reveal that he's the father of Blackbeard. That's an S. Easy S. I will say that the rest of the chapter, like it was going to be an A, and then when I realized that this was the chapter that ended with Rox's reveal, it got instant tax. All right, we got to color spread this chapter. This is the one where they're crossing a little ladder bridge from one building to the other, and Luffy's swinging with Usopp. Better than the yeah, I still got the Flying Fish Riders race at the bottom, and then I would put the one with Lilith and Bonnie still at the top, and then this one in the middle here. $11.55. The Rox Pirates. This is now we've got Rox has met Loki. Oh my god. This when Rox was aura farming in front of Emu, I don't even need to see the rest of the chapter. Like this is a top 5. Like that moment alone. Reveal that Gunko was one of Emu's attendants there. I can't believe this man just like went into the flower chamber and aura farmed. Let's see what else this chapter had, because that's just like page 4 or 5 or something. Realistically, page 3, not including the color spread. Harold versus Beck. Rox's bounty poster looking exactly like Buggy's. The reveal that he did get his crew from a Davy back, or at least most of them. The reveal of his crew. The reveal that Wang Zhe is Caribou's dad. Don Marlin, who I don't know, we haven't talked about this on stream, but I saw it was something that was put in a comment on the last stream, and I feel so bad that I was it Matthew? I can't remember who posted it. But I remember I was thinking about it a lot afterwards, because I got a comment on the last stream that since we got the coloring for Don Marlin's hair, Don Marlin could be Don Krieg's dad, and it would explain why Don Krieg is at Beehive Island, because they have the same hair color and they have the same surname. And I love that, and I'm on that. I'm on it completely. We saw Gang Zui. Yeah, it was Matthew Leader. I said I thought it was Matthew, but it was. It's a great idea. I can't believe I hadn't thought of it. Yeah, I think that this chapter is firmly secured in top 5. Like, if things end up getting pushed down, me personally, because this is my list, right? This might be 2. This might be the second chapter of the year. No, actually, I know what the second chapter of the year is. This is 3. This is not going to get bumped from top 5. There's no way. This chapter was too great. Moving on to 1156. This might have been my favorite color spread of the year. Sanji's fit, aura farming with that orange jacket that like the one he had in Zoe. This is the one where it's Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Roger, Rayleigh, and Gabon. I don't know. I love this one. All right. Idols. All right, so this is when we saw Gloriosa, we saw Tritoma. We got the reveal that this was going to be partially the Shaki flashback. I think this is what changed Roger for a lot of people. They wanted him to be more of a Chad, and they didn't get it. Then we go back to Ida's bar, meet Silver Axe. You know, now that I'm seeing this, I'm actually a little more disappointed that we didn't get more characterization for Silver Axe. You know, I remember we had all these theories. Oh, he could be like Drake's grandfather, like blah, blah, blah. You know, like we got no context for this guy moving forward later on into the world. And he was barely in the flashback. I think we see Kaido for the first time. We got John. more lore with the Galila band. Great spread of the Rocks pirates at the end. But I can't put that in top 5. I can't put that chapter in top 5. But I can put it in S. Legendary Bar, 1157. Sanji looks a lot like a Bond in the color spread, yeah. It's an all-timer for sure. Alejandro said this chapter made me like Roger more. Same. I'm not on the side of I don't need Chad or Roger. Film acts needed, yeah. 1157. Legendary Bar. This one was cool because it actually showed them like pulling off a heist. Like, this is what I want to see in the anime. I liked this one a lot. I remember because it was like, let me see these pirates do some pirate activity. Saw Kong for the first time in a while. We see Shaggy, like technically her poster, but just in the newspaper. She's left the Kuja pirates. She starts her bar. And the Gorosei wants to kill Rocks. Shaggy's ripoff bar. This is gonna be top of S for me. In contention for top 5. Just because I love the way that chapter started. Like, that chapter was so fun at the beginning. Like, I wanted more shenanigans, more times with them going around. Crush said, I remember you loving this chapter. Yeah, like I'm almost tempted. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of top 5 for now, and I feel like I feel like it could get bumped down. But man, that's what I want from One Piece. And the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like talking myself into the idea that I really love the chapter. $158. Rocks versus Herald. Okay. Get the private conversation between Roger and Rayleigh, young Figureland. The reveal that Teach has already been born somewhere else. Some Shaggy and Rayleigh lore. Rocks goes and fights Harold again. They have their argument. And then we get the reveal of Shanks and Shamrock being born on God Valley. That one was okay. I'm going to put this one in an A. It was a setup. Wheezy said 1158's where Zebek tells Harold, asks him where his pride, like it's Vegeta talking to Goku. Yeah, exactly. And just knowing where it goes to, I can't put it any higher because it's just like, Harold, you didn't listen, man. 1159, the Island of Fate. Okay, Shaki's been kidnapped. Don Marlin was killed, which was crazy enough as it was. Very telegraphed that Wang Zhu's, had something to do with all of this. Figureland stabs his baby mom. The reveal that Dragon is on God Valley, which is something people used to fight with me about because there was some SBS or Viva card thing that implied that this wouldn't happen. And I said that it's the only thing that makes sense for the story, that this is what kickstarted the Revolutionary Army. We got Teenage Morgans. Davy D. Zabek. Oh. My home is God Valley. Shaki's the prize. This is like objectively a top 5. Oh my god. I think there's going to be more than 5 in the top 5. Oh. Damn. 1160. God Valley incident. Okay, we see Eris for the first time. Dragon's got his mission to save the boys. Saint Gunko shooting out arrows around. Summers. The Rocks Pirates arrive. Basically 1096, like from a different perspective. It's not a top 5 for me, but it is an S. Not enough spots. Wait till more chapters. When top 5 won't fit. Yeah. You know what? Maybe do a pseudo top 5 where you have your top 5 and then definitive number 0 above it, the best chapter. Yeah. Because it's like, I love 1159, but 1159 might, like, while it is a definitive top, like, one of the best chapters of the year, like, objectively, that might end up at, like, top of S, just for, like, my own personal favorite. Like, I don't know if that was, like, one of my favorites. Like, I think I liked the fun stuff in 1157 more than 1159. JHSM, hope you, hey Randy, hope you had a great Christmas with the family. Hope you had a too. It's good. We're all kind of sick, which kind of sucks. Weezy said 1161 is the most read chapter for One Piece on Manga Plus this year. 3rd overall. Most read manga plus chapter out of all series this year. Really? Wow. 1161. I take back everything I said about color spreads. This was the color spread of the year. This one is so iconic to me, like with all the little like toys from the claw machine. Like, I love this one. I love this one. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is the best color spread. Song of Love, Bound Under a Hail of Arrows. Alright, so we got Mayfie taking one of the kids. The Rocks Pirates save Dragon. We got Demon Time Garp going after Lin Lin. We got Rayleigh saving Shaki. Coming through with his come with me if you want to live moment, which was one of my favorite panels of the year.
Come with me if you want to live.
Exactly. Claw machine spread was amazing. 61 was like a movie. Yeah. I really loved this, just because it was like it was Oda finally injecting like a little bit of romance into the story. Effectively, and just like it's good. It's good. That was one of my favorite chapters of the year. This is top of S for me. It's also in contention for top 5. $11.62. We're almost done here, guys. All right, leaving with Shaki. Big Mom gets the fruit. Kuma eats his. Rock's trying to save Eris, getting chased by family. Eris saying that she can survive on her own. Kaido taking the fruit, becoming a dragon. And Emu taking over Saturn. This one's good. It's not top 5 for me, though. I'm going to put it at S. $11.63. Promise. 1163. So this is this loading? This website's acting up for me right now. Error has occurred. I know. Now the stream's lagging too? Oh man. Something must be going on with my internet. I can't even get the chapter to open. Okay, here we go. Is it a little bit better now, guys? Can you hear me? Is it still lagging? Let me know. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chapters to go. Audio's fine, the video is choppy. I'm sorry, guys. Well, anyway, 1163 is, for me, is the chapter that I was talking about before. That I was like, this is my third favorite chapter. Or actually, sorry, my second favorite chapter, I think. This is a top 5 chapter for me. Almost exclusively for the Captain John moment, which is one of my favorite moments of the year. But I mean, like, this chapter did so much in terms of like what I wanted out of God Valley, which was seeing devil fruits being used by the Rocks pirates that we recognize in you know the present. So seeing Kid's fruit, seeing Mr. Five's fruit. Is this the one where we see Gil has the Perona's fruit as well? I mean, like, whether or not that's this chapter, like, I just... That's something that I love about all of this. I think this is the one where you can actually see Polo, like, in the... just randomly in the background of a shot. You have the big, massive group attack against Emu, Saturn. And then Rox gets co-opted. Gills later, yeah. I just that panel where he says, "Come to me, my treasures," like, that's pirate activity. And I love it so much. Moving on to 1164. Chris said, I knew you'd love that. I made sure that Captain John was in the thumbnail. Yeah. So this is the Perona fruit reveal chapter, and Perona is also on the cover page. So, this is when Rox gets Domi reversied. He essentially low diffs Whitebeard, which is crazy. Everybody's going nuts. Dragon has a crisis of faith because he couldn't save a single baby. And Kuma saves Eris. We end with Rox getting ready to fight Garp and Roger. This one's great. It's not top 5. I'm going to put this one right behind the chapter where Robin goes off against Summers. Kuma Saves Teach is S tier for sure, and that's it's an S. S is our biggest category. Unsurprisingly. I am not surprised that is the case. 1165. We're almost done here, folks. Okay, 1165. Reverberations. Okay, so this is the big fight against Domi Reversi Rox. We get the reveal of Polo Graham. The team combo attack between Roger and Garp, defeating Rox. Narrator speak at the end. This was a really good year. This is also an S. I'm going to put it right here. Let's see. All right. 1166. We got another color spread. A fall-themed one that included Tama and Yamato and Shinobu. So automatically makes it a great color spread. It's fun. Not spread of the year, though. It's still fun. Oh. So we start this with Garling walking over, killing Rox definitively. We see how Gabon and Rayleigh get the other two out of there. We get a great spread of them sailing away, and then we've got different little vignettes happening on either side of the page over narrator talk. We get the recreation of Volume 4 Billion without Roger's mustache. We got Sengoku being trash. We got this conversation between Rox and Loki, where a lot of people read into this is that Rox had no idea who Nika was, which is very curious if that's the case. We have to take everything as face value a lot of times because a nuance of him like pretending to not know, or just seeing if seeing what Loki actually knows about it, wouldn't really play in text like this. We got Harold being upset that his friend is dead, but there's only one person to blame, and that's yourself, buddy. We've got Dragon in the cell. Garp helps get him out. And then Harold rips off his horns and offers himself to the world government. This chapter was fine. I'll say top of A. His S is crowded. Moving on to 1167. Ida's Sons. Okay. We got Morgan's. We got Reuter. We got the World Economic News. World Economy newspaper. We got Harold taking out boats. We got a speed run of the world, jumping forward in time all the way to Roger's execution. We got the explanation of the Shallows Covenant. We've got Harold hanging out with Neptune, creating arranged marriages that may come to pass. We've got Shanks in the Holy Land. We've got a different angle of the Fisher Tiger breakout. And we've got that very powerful ending. This is an S. This one's an S. I'm going to put it around there. This chapter, I wouldn't say it started off as an S, but it progressively becomes that just because it actually did give me a lot of what I wanted out of this flashback, which was like different angles on events that we already knew about or more events. We're on the final two chapters of the year. Okay, 1168, The Snows of Elbaf. We've got Ida's death, which was really well done. We've got Harold drinking the Kool-Aid. And then going back and calling for his son. The only part of this chapter that I really, was engaged in was Ida's death. So I'm going to put this somewhere in A. We got the Rocks Pirate spread, another great color spread here in 1169. Crush said 1167 had a little bit of a clip show feel, yeah. Ida's death was good. Sad the rest of the chapter was meh. Yeah, exactly. Um, can I get an 1169 in the chat? Yup. Thanks, Tomato. Thanks, Crush. Crush put this tier list together, so I'll end it on him. Okay. So this had a lot of great Shanks and Gabon stuff in it. I like Harold's thing that, you know, all that matters is Elbaf's future. Am I wrong? And then we end with him getting hit by Ragnar. I like the thing I like about this chapter the most is that we got an actual like explanation for the covenants. Like Shanks actually gave us lore and explained, you know, like the ins and outs of this. The Herald stuff, like, you know, it's not my favorite thing in the story. So this is a solid thing. So I'm gonna also put this somewhere in A. And that's that. And we ended up actually getting technically top 5 if you put Mural in its own category. Was this the best year quality-wise in decade? It might be. And there was also the Reverie year. Top 5.5, yeah. So that's the list zoomed out a little bit so that we can see the whole thing. 1138 is in its own category. It's the Mural chapter. 1163, that's just my own personal chapter that I liked. I just thought that there was some, you know, some really good pirate activity happening there. And you got 1155, which was Rock's aura farming and meeting all of the other Rocks Pirates members, and the, you know, either the new theories or confirmed theories that came from all of that. 1149 is all of the like Brook and Gunko stuff, and then getting possessed. Yeah. 1157, which was, you know, there's just some pirate activity happening. Jackie opens the rip-off bar. Like, that's just that's my own personal thing. I just really like that one. And then Davy D. Zebek, 1159. And you know, like the next row too, like I could honestly like could actually make an S plus. This 1161, 1150, 1162, 1160, and 1148. Yeah. 1161 is like definitely top of S plus, almost top 5. That's the Come With Me If You Want to Live chapter. Just getting some romance injected into the story is sensational. Um, 1150. That was the Domi Reversi chapter. Brogy losing his hand, getting flipped. Dory getting flipped. I might have changed some things around, actually. I'll do that. Put this back here. And then that actually gives us like a top 10. If I make it so that it's just 4 in S plus, then we actually have a top 10. And then if I want to make this my own personal list and like not stand with objectives, I'll put 1159 in the top of S plus and bring in Come With Me If You Want to Live at the top here. I do really love that. I feel pretty comfortable with this. Personally, my one takeaway going through this year is that Loki's one of my favorite characters in One Piece. His story is so good. That's why I rank 1153 so highly. Yeah, I mean, I need more from him. I like him so far, but I want more. And then Crush, since you put this all together, this was Crush's list that he put in the Discord. He had the mural at the top. He had 1150. 1153, 1163, 1164, 65, 68. Wow. Oh, you redid the list. I saw that you put it here. Top 5, 1138, 1155, 1153, 1163, 1165. How does that compare? He threw 63 in there too. Yeah. Yeah, I feel comfortable with this for now. This is good. Next year predictions, please. We're gonna see some big things with the rest of the Yonko. We're gonna get updates on what the Cross Guild was doing, updates on Blackbeard. I think we're gonna see an ancient weapon for the first time, or know that someone's in possession of it. Whether it's both, either Fishman Island or Wano or both will get attacked, or have already, like, the attack has been happening concurrently with all of this. And I think we're going to figure out whatever Vivi's role in the rest of the story is going to be after that newspaper this year, too. Oh, and I'll throw this out there just because I still stand by the theory. I think that Luffy is the counter to Imu and will start Domi reversing he'll flip the flips, and then everybody else start turning Gear 5. SSG Constantine said Muro for the win, and as someone who got into One Piece 2 years ago, it's crazy to me how we got introduced to two of the best characters in the whole story in this current arc. Crush said Vivi with the Stryouts in 2026. I mean, I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but that would be great. I think we'll at least get to a point where it's like Vivi either needs our help or, you know, we'll be on a collision course with Vivi. Luffy's going to see the newspaper and, like, know what needs to be done. Mizukame said 1163 is a super banger chapter. Perfect choice. It's One Piece at its most One Piece, in my opinion. Like, just seeing a bunch of pirates do pirate stuff, like, I love it. Alex said 1149 is their personal best, but the mural is deserving. Yeah. Neil said you could probably do a tier list of the #1 chapter for each year, although it's hard to beat the mural. Yeah. Honor, it's a very solid list. Thank you. Must have said, can't believe it's been 31 chapters since Mural. It feels so new. Tell me about it. Gotta at least address the newspaper, yeah. Be nice to know Vivi's whereabouts. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. You guys want to get in your last little bits, things that you want to say about the year? Anything? Post your list. Again, the tier list is in the description. If you want to do one, you can put it in the Discord. Rush said 2026 is going to be crazy. I think it's going to blow 2025 out of the water. I mean, you know, if we get the cross guild intermingling with the crew again and stuff like that, then absolutely every chapter is going to feel like an S. um, if we actually do get to Laugh Tale, I can't see how we don't blow things out of the water. I think the next time that we're gonna, have to deal with something to this level is gonna be, it's gonna be when we start getting Void Century flashbacks, which is next. Not immediately next, but like in terms of like how we were waiting for God Valley, it's like, okay, well, we know we've got the Void Century one coming. Is it the year of Loki or the year of Rocks? Who's the year MVP? I'm gonna say Rocks over Loki, just because Loki spent the majority of the year chained up against a wall. So Loki hasn't had the opportunity or chance to really shine yet in a meaningful way, and I think that 2026 could be that. If Loki gets up top with Luffy and starts going off fighting Emu and doesn't get Domi reversied, then we're looking at one of the great characters of all time in the series. If he gets Domi reversied, I think I might be disappointed, because I feel like that's what every other mangaka would do. I have the biggest character in the whole story. Let me turn him into a demon and make him the villain. The more the subversion to that would be no, this is the good guy, that everybody thinks is a demon, and he gets the chance to show everybody that he's good. And I have faith that Oda will go that route. Crush said, my wishes for 2026, Devil Fruit lore, yes. VV meetup, 100%. As in, I want it. Not sure if we'll get it, but I want it. Cross Guild action, absolutely. I think we're getting it. Blackbeard update, we're definitely getting it. Loki Superstar, it's coming real soon. 2026 will be the year of Monkey D. Dragon, just wait. Yeah, maybe. Tomato said, this year's story progression has calmed my anxiety, which was for how much closer are we to the end. Still have some decent length to cover, in my opinion, in my very humble opinion. I still think we could, I think there's a very real possibility that we could end in 2027. Around the summer, the anniversary. Things would feel rushed, but I mean, there's a chance. I feel Hyrunin getting reverse seed would be good though, but I don't think anybody else will. I think Luffy undoes it and Loki kicks ass. Hyrunin getting reverse seed would hurt, but I could see it for sure. I could see Ripley getting reverse seed. I'd like to see somebody on the crew get reverse seed though, because then that's when we know, oh yeah, we're really going to be able to undo this now. There's no way one of these guys is going to die. But if it's Frankie, it would be cool, because then you just give him a new body. Constantine said, I always like to think of crazy theories, but for next year I'm simply expecting Dragon and Loki to pop off. Shanks is at Lodestar waiting for Luffy. Emu's presence might make him call an audible though. Yeah, we'll see. Wi-Fi hockey over to Elbaf. Chris said, going over 2025, it's crazy how much we got. The flashback felt long, but it really wasn't. I mean, we technically only got like 30 something chapters this year. So, you know, out of 52 weeks, there were a lot of breaks. Uh, and half of it was the flashback for the most part. But I think it's cool, and I think it's daring that, you know, Oda was so willing to give us that. Usopp Reversey? Maybe. That would hurt, though. I want to see Usopp go Gear 5. Demon Nami and Frankie next to my big hope. Nami, wow. Frankie I can see because Frankie's been with Ripley this whole time, and I could see like Gabon having to fight his wife. And just Cologne having two parents scares me in One Piece. Like, I don't think he's going to have two parents for long. He also 2026, a new character, a new member, a new crew member unlocks hockey. I mean, I'd love that. I think we're setting everything up for Conqueror's Sanji, but it would be, you know, great if we got, you know, Armament Robin. I think that the crew needs a little mini time skip though, where they all actually like, okay, guys, it's time. You've been moving through all of this without hockey. Let's fix this, okay? Is Ripley gonna survive? I don't know. She's a mom in One Piece. Crushnaut, do you think Usopp will actually go Nico or have a costume in all white like the Return of Sogeking? I think that Luffy's ultimate power is being able to distribute his power to other people. And I think that that's what we saw with Bonnie, and it's not just because of her devil fruit. And I could be wrong, and it's okay if I am. But I think thematically there's a lot that Usopp gets if he manages to like tap into something like that. Ripley is a big mom, and big moms survive. Maybe. Alex Mirren, I like the idea of Robin unlocking the voice of all things while fighting Demon Frankie, so his true self can warn her of an incoming attack. That's fun. That's different. Well, guys, I think we're gonna. I think I'll wrap things up here. I think that's a wrap on 2025. So once again, thank you, everybody. Like Tomato just said, thank you, Savage Community, for this year. I'm going to be way too busy to do any other streams before 1170 officially releases. So this is the last stream of the year. And thank you again for a great year, guys. Like, I mean, we've been talking about God Valley for a long time, and we all got to collectively experience it together, and that's just wild. So
you loyal.
Appreciate you all, and I'm looking forward to starting 2026 off with a bang. I haven't been spoiled, so we'll see what happens. We'll see where the story goes.
Savage.
said, Randy, thank you for 2025. Thank you all, Savage Crew. Happy New Year's. Yes, Happy New Year, everybody. Otter Solace 2026, the year of Randy. You know, I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, season 2 comes out and people like it. Who knows? Shout out to Crush. Super, it's a great year. Thanks for having me along. My first full year with the group. And thank you again, Crush, for putting the tier list together. For not only myself, but for anybody else that ends up, you know, doing their own. Everybody drop some W's in the chat for Crush for putting the tier list together. With being sick and then, you know, the whole house, you know, inevitably getting sick. I had no time to put this together. So Crush, you know, thanks so much. Jay just said, thank you, Randy. You deserve so many more subscribers. You know, at this point, you know, it is what it is. You know, I've got to follow the official release, and most people want their information immediately. So I think growth for the channel, as far as like just covering One Piece, has plateaued. But I appreciate the sentiment. If everybody wanted to talk about it officially, then, you know, yeah, I did think it would have been cool, you know, to be able to get to, you know, like 100K and all that and get sent one of those things, but I don't think it's going to happen at this point. Right back at you, Chin. All right, guys. So me too, Chin. So yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. Again, I hope you all had a great holiday. I hope your holiday continues to be great. Thank you again for a great 2025. That is it. It's a wrap on 2025. $2026.
It's about to get spicy.
This was experiencing God Valley. Ascension. We ascended this year. Later, everybody. Thanks again.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.